Part 2 of The Watsons by Jane Austen. No, indeed, I had not the smallest suspicion of it. I considered her engagement to Mrs. Shaw just at that time as very unfortunate for me. I had hoped to find all my sisters at home, to be able to make an immediate friend of each. I suspect the doctor to have an attack of the asthma, and that she was hurried away on that account. The Shaws are quite on her side. At least I believe so. But she tells me nothing. She professes to keep her own counsel. She says, and truly enough, that too many cooks spoil the broth. I am sorry for her anxieties, said Emma, but I do not like her plans or her opinions. I shall be afraid of her. She must have too masculine and bold a temper. To be so bent on marriage, to pursue a man merely for the sake of situation, is a sort of thing that shocks me. I cannot understand it. Poverty is a great evil, but to a woman of education and feeling it ought not. It cannot be the greatest. I would rather be a teacher at a school, and I can think of nothing worse than marry a man I did not like. I would rather do anything than be a teacher at a school, said her sister. I have been at school, Emma, and know what a life they lead you. You never have. I should not like marrying a disagreeable man any more than yourself, but I do not think there are very many disagreeable men. I think I could like any good-humoured man with a comfortable income. I suppose my aunt brought you up to be rather refined. Indeed, I do not know. My conduct must tell you how I have been brought up. I am no judge of it myself. I cannot compare my aunt's methods with any other person's because I know no other. But I can see in a great many things that you are very refined. I have observed it ever since you came home, and I am afraid it will not be for your happiness. Penelope will laugh at you very much. That will not be for my happiness, I am sure. If my opinions are wrong, I must correct them. If they are above my situation, I must endeavour to conceal them. But I doubt whether ridicule. Has Penelope much wit? Yes, she has great spirits and never cares what she says. Margaret is more gentle, I imagine. Yes, especially in company. She is all gentleness and mildness when anybody is by, but she is a little fretful and perverse amongst ourselves. Poor creature! She is possessed with the notion of Tom Musgrave's being more seriously in love with her than he ever was with anybody else, and is always expecting him to come to the point. This is the second time within this 12-month that she has gone to spend a month with Robert and Jane on purpose to egg him on by her absence. But I am sure she is mistaken, and that he will no more follow her to Croydon now than he did last March. He will never marry unless he can marry somebody very great. Miss Osborne, perhaps, or something in that style. Your account of this Tom Musgrave, Elizabeth, gives me very little inclination for his acquaintance. You are afraid of him. I do not wonder at you. No, indeed, I dislike and despise him. Dislike and despise Tom Musgrave? No, that can never. That you can never. I defy you not to be delighted with him if he takes notice of you. I hope he will dance with you, and I dare say he will, unless the Osbornes come with a large party, and then he will not speak to anybody else. He seems to have most engaging manners, said Emma. Well, we shall see how irresistible Mr. Tom Musgrave and I find each other. I suppose I shall know him as soon as I enter the ballroom. He must carry some of his charm in his face. You will not find him in the ballroom, I can tell you. You will go early, that Mrs. Edwards may get a good place by the fire. And he never comes till late, and if the Osbornes are coming, he will wait in the passage and come in with them. I should like to look in upon you, Emma. If it was but a good day with my father, I would wrap myself up and James should drive me over, as soon as I had made tea for him, and I should be with you by the time the dancing began. What? Would you come late at night in this chair? To be sure I would. There, I said you were very refined, and that's an instant of it. Emma, for a moment, made no answer. At last she said, I wish Elizabeth had not made a point of my going to this ball. I wish you were going instead of me. Your pleasure would be greater than mine. I am a stranger here, and know nobody but the Edwardses. My enjoyment, therefore, must be very doubtful. Yours, among all your acquaintance, would be certain. It is not too late to change. Very little apology would be requisite to the Edwards, who must be more glad of your company than of mine, and I should most readily return to my father. Should not be at all afraid to drive this quiet old creature home. Your clothes I would undertake to find means of sending to you. My dearest Emma, cried Elizabeth warmly, do you think I would do such a thing? Not for the universe. But I shall never forget your good nature in proposing it. You must have a sweet temper indeed. I never met with anything like it. And would you really give up the ball that I might be able to go to it? Believe me, Emma, I am not so selfish as that comes to. No, though I am 9 years older than you are, I would not be in the means of keeping you from being seen. You are very pretty, and it would be very hard that you should not have as fair a chance as we all have had to make your fortune. No, Emma, whoever stays at home this winter, it shan't be you. I am sure I would never have forgiven the person who had kept me from a ball at 19. Emma expressed her gratitude, and for a few minutes they jogged in silence. Elizabeth first spoke. You will take notice who Mary Edwards dances with. I will remember her partners if I can, but you know they will all be strangers to me. Only observe whether she dances with Captain Hunter more than once. I have my fears in that quarter, not that her father and mother are like officers, but if she does, you know, it is all over with poor Sam, and I have promised to write to him word who she dances with. Is Sam attached to Miss Edwards? Did not you know that? How should I know it? How should I know in Shropshire what is passing of that nature in Surrey? Is it not likely that circumstances of such delicacy should make any part of the scanty communication which passed between you and me for the last 14 years? I wonder I never mentioned it when I wrote. Since you have been at home, I have been so busy with my poor father and our great wash that I have had no leisure to tell you anything. But indeed I conclude you knew it all. He has been very much in love with her these 2 years, and it is a great disappointment to him that he cannot always get away to our balls. But Mr. Curtis won't often spare him, and just now it is a sickly time at Guildford. End of part 2.